So, my name is Savina, and I'm going to be presenting a speech about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a nonprofit organization that has provided services such as reproductive health care and sexual education for over 98 years. They provide a plethora of free services, including all sorts of birth control, sexual wellness exams, maternal health care, and cancer screenings. Recently, however, Planned Parenthood has come under a lot of fire because it receives funding from the federal government and participates in some services such as abortion, which are against about half of the nation's moral ideals. If you look at the facts, however, if you look at the facts provided by the organization itself, which is since it receives federal funding, it's required to be fact-checked and be accurate. Abortion only accounts for about 3% of Planned Parenthood's activities. This small amount should not have an effect on the existence of Planned Parenthood. So, it is my opinion that Planned Parenthood is extremely beneficial for our community. This is true for a couple of reasons. First, it allows women to be empowered. Second, it maintains the overall health of our community. And third, it ensures the well-being of our future society. So, first, Planned Parenthood allows women to be more empowered. And this is because women now have free and easy access to birth control. So, because it is as simple as walking into the center, women are now more comfortable asking for it and receiving it. Another reason Planned Parenthood is beneficial for women and helps empower them is that they are now able to focus on more important things such as work and college. Because they don't have to worry about accidentally having a child and they're taking active steps to prevent themselves from becoming pregnant, 30% more women have begun attending college in the past 30 years. So since birth control has become more accepted. In fact, teen pregnancy rates have dropped 51% in the last 10 years. And so this leads women to be more empowered because now they're not bounded by their maternal decisions. According to Jennifer, the third reason that women are more empowered is because it prevents women from having traumatic experiences such as abortion. According to Jennifer Frost, a doctor researcher for Planned Parenthood, 2.2 million unplanned pregnancies were avoided in the last year alone. That means there were 2.2 million thoughts about abortion avoided. So because there have been many cases where abortion provides people with post-traumatic stress and all that, so women are more empowered by not having to deal with any of that. Second, Planned Parenthood benefits the community by keeping its overall health safe. This is due to the fact that Planned Parenthood administers over 4 million STD exams a year. By helping identify and treat infections, the community is kept safer. Planned Parenthood also offers cancer screenings. In fact, 10% of all Planned Parenthood visits are dedicated to cancer screenings and prevention. By helping people identify the signs of cancer and by offering screenings of all types, early diagnosis occurs, which ultimately saves lives in our community. Lastly, certain Planned Parenthood centers offer diabetes, anemia, cholesterol testing, which anyone can go and receive. So Planned Parenthood makes sure that the overall health of the community is free and available. Lastly, Planned Parenthood ensures the well-being of our future society. Because women have fewer unplanned or accidental pregnancies, fewer children are being born that cannot be completely taken care of. By having children that are unwanted, they're usually placed in foster care or adoption, so they're not likely to be raised in a loving and nurturing environment. In fact, nowadays, children, when conceived with parents that truly want them, they're 2 to 7% more likely to attain at least the minimum 16 years of education that's publicly offered. This leads to a strong future society. There are also, another reason that it's beneficial for the future society is because Planned Parenthood offers people with education about how to raise children. 65,000 people last year went to Planned Parenthood to learn how to raise their family and protect their children. This makes sure that women and men are educated about how to treat children right and how to take care of them. Finally, Planned Parenthood provides men and women with psychological resources as much as it does with physical resources. Examples include identifying physical or emotional abuse with significant others, as well as depression, anxiety, and other mental disorders. By identifying and providing counseling for these disorders, Planned Parenthood helps the community and ensures the well-being of our future. In conclusion, Planned Parenthood is beneficial for society because it helps empower women, it keeps the community's overall health safe, and it ensures the well-being of our future society. Thank you. Sorry.
All right, well, we get the topic, but it really feels a little bit like you've steered away from what the controversy on the subject is. I'm not sure that anybody denies that Planned Parenthood provides some of these benefits. I think there might be an argument about whether or not Planned Parenthood's contribution is producing the outcomes that you're describing, because a lot of it sounds like it's related to family planning, or I should say birth control issues, and the notion that people only have access to birth control issues because of Planned Parenthood. That's where I think there would be something that's a little bit more controversial. Obviously, the issue that is that you're trying to avoid is the abortion issue, and I think you do that successfully for the first couple of supporting points. On that third point, I do think that there's a couple of lines there that seem to suggest that abortion might be a legitimate criticism to make of the argument, because when you're talking about unwanted children and what's going to happen to them if they're unwanted, that sort of thing, that seems to me like it's an invitation to say, well, there's the difference between unwanted and dead is a substantial one. That would be the argument I think that you'll hear from the other side on that issue. The signposting of the secondary points, well, there's a good preview. I thought you did a pretty good job structuring the speech when you're talking about it. Excuse me. Most of your data sounds like it's coming from Planned Parenthood itself. So the 3% number, for instance, that sounds like that's Planned Parenthood. The information about the number of women in college being correlated with access to birth control, that's a little bit of a stretch. I'm sure that the things have happened simultaneously, but you're implying that there is some relationship there, and I'm not exactly sure that there's a reason to believe that other than just that statistical quirk, which I think is a little bit problematic. You had one quote about 2.2 million pregnancies that were avoided, and you had a quote on that. I don't know where you gave a source on that, which is good. How they came up with that number, that's the thing that's a little bit unclear. So Planned Parenthood is claiming that they prevented 2.2 million pregnancies, and the explanation about where that number comes from, I think, needs to be given. On the secondary issue on position number 2, there's some material that is cited, but it's not very clearly cited. And like I said, on the third point, you kind of get into that territory where there may, in fact, be an invitation to discuss the abortion issue, so you want to be careful about that. The argument that says that they provide training or education resources for prospective parents, that's perfectly fine. One of the things, though, that I think is missing from the argument is the notion that Planned Parenthood is essential for all these other things. In other words, does anybody else provide birth control access? Does anybody else provide these diabetic test screenings or the SDI screenings or those sorts of things? If nobody else is providing them and Planned Parenthood is the only one providing them, then I think your argument's a lot stronger. But we don't get much data on how significant Planned Parenthood is in the context of those issues. So I think that needs to be developed a little bit more. All right, thank you.